What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Law Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo. I'm here with Cristiano Oliveira. Cristiano Oliveira, what's going on, bro?
Como é que é, pá? Pessoal, tudo bem?
Tudo bem. Benfica back on the winning track, so it's obviously a good mood pod, if you will, in contrast for what we've had in the past couple weeks, where we've kind of pointed out some screaming deficiencies and some things that we're seeing, but it looks like we're back on an up and up. We'll see how long that lasts. On tonight's podcast, we will look back at the Taça da Liga game, first inaugural game of this year's Taça da Liga against Braga, where Benfica hosted Braga at Estádio da Luz. We'll also look back at the seventh jornada. Benfica played Passos Ferreira at Estádio da Luz, and that was back on a winning track. That's when we got back on the winning track. We'll look ahead to the Champions League match day 2, which comes up tomorrow against Basel in Switzerland. And we'll also look ahead to Maritimo. Benfica will travel to the Madeira Island to play Maritimo this weekend, and we'll preview that. So without further ado, let's get right back into it. Benfica played Braga at Estádio da Luz midweek last week. It was a little bit after our pod, so it's been a little bit. Some of you may not remember that game, but we'll recap it real quick. I'll give you the lineup. Julio Cesar was in goal. Almeida, Jardel, and Ruben Dias and Eliseu across the back. In the midfield, something a little different than what we have seen. Samaris, Felipe Augusto, and Krovinovic. I'll get it. I'll get it one of these days. Up front, Rafa, Jimenez, and Gabagul. So a 4-3-3 for Benfica. I think we had been talking about here some of the changes that needed to take place in order for Benfica to play better in the midfield with faces absent. And I guess this was a way of Rui Vitoria trying out a new system. Julio Cesar was in goal, and Cristiano, we talked about Julio Cesar being in goal especially for the Taça da Liga. We felt that was most likely going to be a scheduled start if he was healthy, and so it was. So nothing to really think as far as conspiracy theories. And look, I think we discussed the topic quite extensively.
We beat it. You know, what's the saying?
Beat the dead horse.
Yeah, of course, we beat it to a pulp. But yeah, I mean, really no surprise. I thought, barring injury, he was going to be back in there. Now, the question would have been that we all had here. The question was going back into Liga NOS play, into the Campeonato, whether he played, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, really no surprise. And he had to get the cobwebs off at some point. And so, I mean, what better game than to do it right then and there? First game of the Taça da Cerveja in the group stage. Why not give him a run?
Yeah, that's right. So and also a repeat start for Ruben Dias. He will then on the weekend he would get another start. So happy to see that. And Cristiano, you had been, I don't want to say critical. You hadn't been critical, but you had been hesitant
I think my expectations were a lot lower than everyone else. Everyone was real high on the kid from seeing him play on the B team and you know, on the U19s. And based on what I saw, it was like, let's look. I'm hoping the kid's good, but let's calm down. And I was just a little reserved. That, you know. But then again, guys, I'm reserved with the exception of Tarapt. I'm reserved on everybody. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. So, you know, like I think that a lot of center backs and guys, especially young kids, I think it's the reps that are going to make you gain confidence, especially if you have a good games and there's no blunders and you play a safe and consistent game. I think that just helps with your confidence, especially for a young kid. And I think that right now it's what Ruben Dias is. Is he a world beater? We can't say yet. Is he better than Jardel?
Well, here's the thing, man. We still need to slow our horses here.
Right, I know.
I mean, look, he's looked good against Braga in a Taça da Liga game. He's looked good against whoever the hell they played the week before. That we Boavista. We wound up losing, and now over the weekend against Passos Ferreira. Again, none of these teams really pose that threat. Let's see. Look, if he plays tomorrow in Basel, you know, things start looking up. We'll see. But let's see him start playing against better competition. As of right now, he's doing fine. The kid looks very, and I keep repeating myself, but he does. I think that's one of the things that I'm most shocked in, because I didn't think he was as good as he is. Looking comfortable on the ball. He's looking very comfortable with the ball. He knows what to do with the ball. Doesn't look nervous at all. He seems to be in position, but we still need to see him go up against the big boys. A guy that could really put pressure on him. A guy that could beat him, go around him, beat him. Let's see what he could do in a certain situation. But for now, look, everything's look good.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think that Benfica is going to go through a little bit of a tough spell right now with the games that they have to play. They'll play Basel, as we mentioned, tomorrow, and then they have Maritimo, who is yet to
tough match in Maritimo and Madeira, and then a break.
Yeah, do we have a break? Is it?
Yeah, then I believe it's a European break, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
No, it is a European break in between. And
no, that's when they come to Canada, right?
Yeah, but that's a break. Who cares? Nobody's counting that. And then
come on, man.
Their next that don't count. The next official game is the 18th or the 15th. Taça de Portugal.
Yeah.
Não sei o sorteio. And then the 18th is the big one.
Yeah.
And let's see if he gets a start in that game. But
now, one thing that I have to say about Ruben Dias is that Ruben Dias, he's throughout his career, and I speak extensively to Bruno Pereira, who was a coach, and at one point he was coaching the formation of Benfica, and Ruben Dias was one of his players, right? He was in the technical staff of one of the U teams, and Ruben Dias was one of his players. So he knows the kid very well, right? And one of the things that Ruben Dias had, he's always played on the right side of the defense. Now, obviously, Luizão wasn't going to get moved to the left side, so Ruben Dias can play on the right. I mean, we've seen Lindelof, whose natural position was on the right, he shifted over to the left side of the pairing, and this is the same thing with Ruben Dias. So playing on the left side, you know that your natural foot is always going to be the left, albeit you're still in the middle. So it's almost an adaptation that you have to adapt on how you approach certain balls and how you come up on some tackles, because basically your strong side is your weak foot, if you could say that. So it takes a little bit of an adaptation. From what we understand and from what I've heard, is that he's been working very, very hard to develop that side of his game. He's also been working very, very hard on the passes out of the back to break some sectors. And all of these things are a part of the learning process. Rui Vitoria came out and said that he had been working very hard to improve these parts of the game and to be able to give his contribute to the team. So we obviously expect good things from the kid. So look, if you're a Benfiquista, there's nothing that you find more pride in to see a guy that was raised, that came into the academy at the Seychelles.
And this wasn't a kid that joined the academy at 16 or 17. This kid's been there for the run.
8 or 10 years old.
He's been there for the whole run.
He's a lifer, basically. So there's nothing that brings a little bit more, a lot of pride than to see a kid that is a Benfiquista at heart, came at a very young age, and now realizes his dream to play in a senior team. So, look, to be honest, I'm pulling for him. I am hesitant, just like Cristiano saying, or let's not, raise this kid up on a pedestal, because he still has a long way to go. And I think that it's good that Benfiquistas kind of temper their emotion and their expectations of Ruben Dias, because too much pressure too soon may be detrimental to his growth. And
some guys could handle it.
Some guys can handle it.
Renato handled it. Smidu handled it to some extent. I mean, some guys can handle, but some other guys we've seen in years past, anytime Benfica had any guy that showed a little bit of promise, he's being brought up to the A team and then skessed. You know what I mean? But look, I agree with everything you've said. There's nothing that gives us more joy and more pride than having a kid, one of our very own. That's why a lot of you guys are still caught up in this whole Bernardo Silva thing. You still can't get over it. And it's very similar with this. Obviously, this kid wasn't as highly touted as a Bernardo was, but a lot of people had high expectations for him over the last season, I would say. And look, he's looked good. I'm not ready to say, look, here's the keys and drive the Ferrari. He's in a Ferrari now. He could get in that. He could get
don't crash it.
But no, I don't think he could drive it yet. I don't think it's his to drive.
You think he's still learning how to parallel park?
Well, I think he's still learning how to mess with the shift,
the shift paddles,
the paddles. Yeah, he's still learning. But at some point, if he keeps progressing from the shift paddles to to parallel parking, whatever. He might get the keys one of these days. But I just want you guys to be careful, rather than to expect this guy to be all of a sudden like he's an untouchable. He's absolute starter. That's it. And look, and if he comes out of these games and looking good, fine. I have no problem with doing that. But let's see what he does if he does indeed start in is in the starting 11 tomorrow in Switzerland and Basel. Let's see if he does get the nod against Manchester United, because I mean at the end of the day, even Basel might not even be a tremendous test for him.
Mm-hmm.
The Man United will be a test.
Yeah.
And let's see if he does get the nod in those days. And then listen, then I think not just myself, but a lot more other people will have a better clue, a better idea of what exactly to expect from this kid.
I think that sometimes we tend to forget the different stages that we witness a player week in, week out. And I think that Lindelof is probably an example of that, which at one point he had played a Taça da Liga game or a Taça de Portugal game.
He looked bad. It was a Taça da Liga, and he looked bad.
Yeah, and then everybody was hesitant when we really didn't have anybody but Lindelof. Else. And there was people. I kind of held my opinion because I feel that with center backs is a lot of repetition in order to get to the flow, to know your teammates, to know the tendencies, the patterns, so on and so forth. So I think that when you look back, you don't really remember Lindelof being any other way but what he is today. Because it was
former at Man United.
So because it's like everything, right? You don't, when you go through hard times and you get past them, after a while you can't, that those hard times kind of get put
it's just part of your journey.
Yeah,
part of your journey. It's just the story that you tell. Look, and it's something that you use as experience to later on when you become a veteran, you got another kid in your position, you can say, look, man, I've been through that.
Yeah.
And those are, again, it's part of your story, and you'll be able to help others based on the tough times that you've been through and the tough times that you were able to get out of.
Yeah. One thing that I'll say, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but within the Braga game, there probably wasn't a lot of you that noticed, but as we know, Pizzi has been struggling. He struggled quite a bit to play and to get to grab his chances that he had against Ferreira. And that was at one point, Ruben Dias did go up to Pizzi and kind of offered him some comfort. So take what you will from that, but that was something that was highly publicized and it happened. Take what you will for that, but if that doesn't show the character and the type of team player that he is, then I don't know what is, especially early at the stage.
Well, Alfredo, look, there's maybe people have questioned his ability on the field, but I don't think anyone's questioned his leadership ability. That's the one thing.
Personality.
That's the one thing that everyone's always been praising, and it's kind of like mocked some people at times because the guy's a tremendous leader. I'm like, and this happened with Ruben, and it's like, okay, because you're a tremendous leader doesn't necessarily translate that you're a tremendous player on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you know what? Kudos to the kid. He's showing leadership at a very young age. Like you said, that's something that a lot of people maybe did not pick up on. But the fact that he's able to go up into, I'm pretty sure Pizzi's one of the assistant captains on the team. The fact he's able to go up to him and encourage him and give him advice and tell him to pick his head up and let's go, keep it moving. You'll be good. It shows a lot. It shows what type of character you have. And look, we just hope that he's able to put the rest of the package together, but not too soon, because if he puts it on too soon, it'll be gone soon enough. So
yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So just to wrap up this Braga game, Benfica went ahead early by a goal by Jimenez, and I thought they had decent time periods, especially early in the game. But after the second half, we saw the typical Benfica slowing down, and the chances that Braga was having, we knew that it wasn't going to finish with the 1-0. So Braga ended up tying the game, and it finished tied. So this was a perfect opportunity for Benfica to put some points between them and their main competition in this group stage of the League Cup, and Benfica failed to do that. So now it's going to depend on what results Benfica gets against the other teams. Also, probably goal differential is probably what it's going to come down to. And I don't know what other tie-break methods there are for the League Cup, but we'll just have to keep an eye on. So with that game in the books, we now turned our attention to Ferreira, who was at Stade Luz this past weekend. And look, this is the Taça da Liga game, regardless of whether there's plenty of guys and players and coaches and Direção saying that we take this competition serious, is always going to be a second-rate competition, right? In everybody's mind. So the league is number one. Domestically, I'm talking about. The league is number one. Taça de Portugal is number two. And Taça de Liga is number three, right? So coming out of the tie against Taça de Liga, yes, the fans are up in arms that Benfica hasn't won a game in four outings. So obviously, Benfica was looking for actually the fans were looking for the team to respond against Passos Ferreira. And
no, three games. They were on a three-game winless streak.
Yeah. So whatever it was. But I heard the word crisis, Rui Vitoria out many times. And look, let's calm. Aguenta aí a carroça. Não vai assim tão longe. So everybody calm down. It's still early. Yes, there are things that we're seeing with this team that obviously we're concerned about, but it's still too early to start lighting up your torches and pulling out your pitchforks to have some kind of a movement against this team and against the coaches. So let's hold our judgments for a little bit longer. So Benfica was at home, as I mentioned, against Passos Ferreira. I gave you the lineup. Julio Cesar was in goal. Almeida, Luizão, Ruben Dias again, and Grimaldo across the back. Ferreira was returned, and Pizzi in the middle. On the wing, Zivkovic and Servi, and up front, Jonas and Seferovic. So, getting back to this Julio Cesar topic, Cristiano, I think we both agreed that if both guys that are 100%, you got to give the nod to Julio Cesar.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talked about this last week, and I questioned how the transition was going to happen. Because obviously Varela being a very young kid, a young goalkeeper, his confidence could have been shattered here. But it all depends on how Rui Vitoria handled it behind the scenes. I question whether it would happen this game or not, because maybe you wanted to give him a vote of confidence that they still believed in him, and maybe they'll just give him another game to kind of like BS their way out of getting him out of getting him out of the starting
being questioned. Yeah,
it's so. They could have gone in many different ways, but you know what? Rui Vitoria, I guess, handled like a man, I'm assuming, and told him, look, we're going to go with this guy. He's our number one. You're the backup as we stand right now.
Yeah.
But we still have tremendous confidence in you. We believe in you. We could go to you at any moment and be ready, because Julio says he's 38. He's fragile. The guy could pull up, at any second with an injury. So you need to be ready at all times. So, look, kudos to Rui Vitoria for having the guts to finally do that, because I mean, again, he could have been questioned and criticized. There's so many different ways that that this situation could have headed, and it turned out the good way for a good reason.
Yeah, it is a sensitive topic, and you kind of have to really handle it with some tact, right? But I think that overall, when everything's said and done, you got three guys. All three guys are 100%. Julio Cesar is always going to be your number one.
Based on experience.
Varela is going to be a number two, and Svilar is going to be
we don't know about
number three.
I'm hoping Svilar makes a jump here soon. I mean, we've heard a lot about this guy. He's supposed to be the truth. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying that maybe next year with Julio Cesar departing, that the goal could be his. So I would like to see something from this kid at some point, whether it's the Taça de Liga or whatever. But I like to see maybe he gets sunburned in Toronto for the guys up in or Hamilton. What is it, Hamilton?
Hamilton, yeah.
Maybe in Canada. Maybe he gets sunburned up there, and some of you guys will get the opportunity to see the guy play firsthand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that most of the fans or all of the fans were really happy to see Ferreira back, because
who is it, man?
With Ferreira, obviously, I mean, if you watch the game, Benfica plays totally different from Ferreira, and I think that we went over the differences between Ferreira and Filipe Augusto last week. So everybody was happy. My biggest thing is that if you know that your team works the best with that type of player, and I'm not singling out Ferreira per se, because obviously Ferreira has traits and skills that sometimes are hard to find another player with the same traits and skills, because each player is unique, obviously. But a player that is very positional, that sits and protects the defense, but also is able to balance the team in defensive transitions. Can we not find a guy that has the same style of play, that has the same positional awareness, and bring him in so he could be a natural substitute? I mean, even Pizzi does better. Pizzi does better with Fesa on the field. That's unquestionable. I think that a lot of the fullbacks also do pretty well with
They have more
Fesa.
freedom.
Because Fesa doubles them up when they go up. So there's a tremendous change in his team, and not only when he has the ball at his feet, but even when he doesn't have the ball at his feet, there's a change in this team. And Grimaldo's been improving. Looks like he's getting to the Grimaldo that we know and love. Hopefully, he will remain healthy. Knock on wood, if you have some wood around. And then Servi, who spent some time on a bench, got a start. Played very, very well. Zivkovic has played well. Jonas is not the lethal guy, but look, as long as he's grabbing you goals, he's scoring goals. I don't care.
What's crazy is that Jonas is not putting away some of the opportunities that he normally would, but he still has 9 goals in 9 games for Benfica this season, all competition, and is still the best start to any season of his career.
Absolutely.
Even though he's not tucking away some of the easy opportunities that we've grown accustomed to seeing him put away. But, somehow, some way, he's scoring the goals when it matters.
Yeah. My biggest thing is that, Benfica can't be dependent on 1 or 2 players. So we've grown too accustomed to depend on Jonas for Jonas to be the guy.
Jonas and Pizzi. Those are the 2 guys that make it that make the motor work. Those 2 guys.
So if those 2 guys are not on, or for some reason there's a defensive scheme that takes him out of the games, guys like Zivkovic and Servi have to step up, and they did this game, and hence the difference.
I think Zivkovic stepped up over the last month. I think this is a guy that's proven that he needs to be on the field at all times. When Savio comes back or not, he needs to be, whether on the left wing, on the right wing. He's just an assist machine. The guy's always has his head up. He's always aware of what the hell's going on around him. He's always creating for others. I mean, the kid's just a stupendous player, man. I mean, you could tell that he's going to be a special player. And just like Ruben Dias, for an example, to go back to him, the more playing time these guys get, the better they're going to get. They need to play and get repetitions. They need to be out there as much as possible. And, I mean, I want to bring someone up here because this was a guy that we talked a lot about over the last 2 seasons. And this was another situation, and he's not at Benfica now, but I feel that I have to mention this guy because the dude looks nothing like the player that he was at Benfica, and that's Gonçalo Guedes.
Yeah.
If you've watched him play at Valencia, or any of you guys have watched him play at Valencia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The kid, he is night and day from what he was when he was at Benfica because he's starting. This guy's playing. He's getting minutes rather than coming on as a substitute. And again, being afraid to mess up because he might get subbed off. And again, it's experience. He's also getting a little bit older. So, he's going to get better, but it shows what he's transformed into with playing time. And that's exactly what we need to happen here with Zivkovic. Needs to be on the field as much as possible. Ruben Dias, even Servi to a certain extent. These guys need to be out there rather than get the Rafas of the world who just don't add anything,
chance after chance
they
after chance.
get chance after chance and they don't add anything. At least these kids, Servi, you mentioned to me before off the year, looks like the stay on the bench, for Servi.
Yeah.
It looks like it helped him out.
Sometimes you need that.
And you need that. And he's come back, and you know what? He's back to his old self. And this is what you need, man. You need to give these kids an opportunity because that's when Benfica is at its best.
Yeah, sometimes you need that because, look, it's either mentally you're not focused enough. There's something that's taken away your attention. As a result, you're not playing as well. Or maybe just burnt out, mentally also. So that could be a couple of factors. And I think that once you spend some time on a bench, you're able to kind of go inside your head and work some things out and feel refreshed mentally and get back to focusing on what's important, working hard and training.
And watching the game from the sidelines at times, it slows things down.
Yeah.
That's why there's a lot of guys, believe it or not, they're not good as starters, and they're tremendous coming off the bench because they've seen the game, they've slowed it down. Everything slows down for you on the sideline. When you're inside the four lines, everything's moving at 1,000 miles an hour. Zoom, 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 you know. But when you're coming in, you've got an opportunity to watch what the hell's going on. You kind of like know what to expect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that are suited for coming off the bench.
Yeah. And also guys that take the time and watch some film of games that didn't play and watch how other guys did in that position, certain things that guys are doing. It just helps refocus, really. And I think that sometimes last year we thought that maybe PT needed a little time to refocus. Not only was he tired physically, which he looked like, but he also sometimes mentally, you know, it's a lot of games. It's the mental preparation for each game, as the coming down, that adrenaline rush coming down from a game, all of that. There's a lot of mental aspects that you need to know how to deal with as a professional player. Those are all things that you have to know how to deal with mentally, because it's just not managing your physical effort and your physical conditioning, but it's also is a lot to do with mental. It's a mental game.
What's the saying? Soccer 10% physical, 90% mental.
Yep.
I mean,
and there's a lot of truth to that, because if you think about it, yes, there are guys out there that are a lot more skilled than others. But when you look at the skill level across the board, all these guys are skilled. But a lot of it has to do with the mental aspect, how you approach the game mentally, how you train, how you focus. And I think that sometimes that's what distinguishes certain guys and raises them up to a certain level. Anyway, Servi 2-0 at the 2-0 20th minute, 1-0 for Benfica. Benfica had been dominating. As a matter of fact, I think that Benfica was unlucky not to come out with a bigger score line at the halftime. They've hit the post at least 2-3 times that I can recall. But Benfica pretty much dominated the first half. I don't think that Ferreira did much. There was a little bit of a push from Ferreira at the end of the half, but nothing that could trouble it. If I could remember, I think that maybe Julio Cesar maybe had 1-2 saves, if that. Saves that he actually ended up on the ground saving the ball, if that. I'm not too sure, but probably for me, and having watched Benfica all season, probably the best performance by Benfica this year so far. So the team has responded to some of the criticism that fans have put out. I think that also Rui Vitoria came out in defense of the team, saying that, look, it's too early. Let's not judge. This is a war, and every game is a battle. So we need to fight each battle as it comes. So we're back on the winning track. That's what we wanted to see. Now let's put together a good string of consistent performances, consistent results, get the team back on the level that we're accustomed to, keep some guys healthy, Fesa, Grimaldo. And right now I'm not asking for the benching of Ruben Dias, but I think that Jardel needs to be healthy just to provide a good, adequate replacement in case we need to switch things up in the middle of the defense. So that's all I'm really asking. But we need to put it in third gear now and get back in that momentum that we need.
No, I agree with you. And as far as Jardel, real quick, this is a guy who's barely played any soccer for the last year and a half.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely needs rhythm and he needs his timing. So, yeah, not asking for Ruben Dias benching, but maybe get him some playing time as well in a League Cup game or something.
Yeah, and I don't think it would hurt either if Luizão also took a break now and again, because as we know, he's getting up there in age. And I'm not saying that he's not capable of doing a job, but we know that at this point he has some limitations on what he could do as a player, not so much as a leader on the field and the captain on the field, but as a player, we know that there's certain things that he struggles with because of his age. So nothing against him. It's just the reality of getting up there in age,
getting old. That's it.
So coming up next for Benfica, match day 2. Benfica traveled to Switzerland. I believe they traveled either yesterday or today. They traveled today to Switzerland to play Basel. On match day 1, Manchester United beat Basel at Old Trafford 3-0. Historically, the two teams have met twice before in the 2011-2012 season. And at that point, both Basel, Benfica, and Manchester United were all in the same group. The other team was from Romania, I believe, Otelu. And the way the group stages finished is, well, Benfica finished in first, Basel in second,
Shocking,
and Man U in third. If you remember, that's the season where Cristiano Ronaldo just basically gave the finger to the whole Stadio de Luz. And the matchups between the Basel and Benfica that year, Benfica won one and tied the other one. So that's the history between the two clubs. Tomorrow, Benfica, having lost the first game of the Champions League group stages against CSKA Moscow, really need to go away from Stade de Luge and grab the points that they gave up on this first match day. And look,
Benfica has an obligation to go into Switzerland, Alfredo, and they have an obligation to win this game tomorrow at all costs. I don't care if it's, pretty football or ugly football. They're going up against a team that's winless in their last 9 Champions League group stage games. They've also lost 3 of their first 9 games in domestic competition. So you're talking about a Benfica that is not in the best of forms, but neither is Basel. So this is definitely a game that should be had by Benfica, and they have to come out there with the pressure, put on the pressure, because we know Basel will be content with a draw at home. For them will be just like a win, because Benfica is obviously in a better club, in a better position right now. So I think Benfica has to, at all costs, like I said, man, come in there and play their solid football and put the pressure on them from early in the game. There's, according to different newspapers in Portugal, there's a big contingency of Benfiquistas or Portuguese fans coming out there to Switzerland. 10,000 are at least expected. So I know the home side's going to have the crowd on their side, but there'll be plenty of Portuguese support, and this is nothing new to Benfica. Benfica's gone out on the road and is accustomed to playing European nights on the road, so should be nothing new to Benfica.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Switzerland is probably the third most Portuguese immigrant country, I would say, without even looking. But I think that there's a huge contingency of Portuguese immigrants in Switzerland. So I mean, we've seen it when the team was in Switzerland the preseason, that there was huge support for the team. So I'm sure that same support will be there tomorrow when they play Basel in their stadium. So we'll just have to see. But for Benfica, nothing else matters but the win. I think that if they lose, they will definitely struggle to even come out of the group for sure.
Well, the very tough thing is, if Benfica, let's say Benfica drop points tomorrow, right? They face Manchester United in back-to-back games. There's a possibility that CSKA Moscow could get away from them.
Yeah,
with two very easy wins against Basel, because we all know Basel is the weakest team in the group. So we could look at a Basel. We could be looking at Benfica with 0 points or 1 point. Let's say if they drop the point, and we're looking at a CSKA Moscow with nine freaking points.
Yeah,
and Manchester United with 9, it'll be out of reach.
Yeah, well,
Benfica have the obligation to go into Basel and get the 3 points tomorrow. I don't want to hear stories. I don't want to hear fairy tales. So they have no excuses.
No,
that's the way I look at it.
I agree with you. And then after Basel, we got Maritimo this coming weekend, Sunday, 9:30 local, 9:30 game on a Sunday.
9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Hey, no, man, that's for TV. That's all TV, bro.
At Stadio dos Barreiros.
So it's a 4:30 game for us.
Yeah. Maritimo. Look it up. Vela está certo. Maritimo is
maybe 8:30.
Yeah, I thought I saw 21:30.
Oh, maybe. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Well, has the time changed yet? Is it changing? Is that
I
what
don't
it
know
is?
if it's changing,
because that seems like a 9:30 game. That's crazy.
Yeah. Maritimo is currently in 4th, 5 wins, 2 losses, no ties. At home, they have 4 wins. They're unbeaten at home.
Yeah, 4:30.
They have only allowed 1 game at home also. Last 5 at the Estádio dos Barreiros, between Benfica and Maritimo, 4 wins for Benfica, 1 loss, and that loss happened to come in last season. Last 10 head-to-head, 9 wins for Benfica, 1 loss. So Benfica is 3rd. Maritimo is 4th.
15 points.
We've also, if you've been following the Portuguese league, we've also heard that the Estádio dos Barreiros, the grass isn't in the best conditions. Their
As vacas na minha terra pastam melhor.
the president has mentioned that the field will be in perfect or good conditions for Benfica. So we'll just have to see. But going away to the Madeira is always a tough task for any team,
especially for the airplanes.
Yeah, in the fog, regardless
exactly, the fog. Don't forget the fog.
Of who you are. I think that that despite some of the results that we've seen here in the 5 last games at Estádio dos Barreiros, I think that there's a lot of teams that always struggle. The important thing for Benfica is to get that first goal early on, so there's no nerves that set in. And
if I'm not mistaken, Benfica were the only big 3 to get the 3 points there last season.
No, last season they lost.
Oh, so then it was the season before. My bad, guys. I'm mixing up my seasons. They
they
lost.
They lost last season,
and we all went crazy.
Yeah. They lost last season to Maritimo, so it's going to be a tough game. We'll just see if
because this is the second year. I was thinking about Renato Sanchez. This is the second year Renato Sanchez gone. You're right. So confusing the games. Sorry.
We need to see what happens tomorrow and see if the result tomorrow is something that can put some momentum, give Benfica some momentum against Maritimo, or if Benfica drop points tomorrow. Knowing that they absolutely need to grab points in Switzerland, and 3 of them, if they don't win it, we'll see what kind of repercussions that has mentally for the players at Maritimo. Also,
and they've been playing well. Just want to throw this in there. They played well. I know they lost 2-1 to Guimarães over the weekend, but they played well in the Europa League. They were ahead of us coming into this weekend. So this is a team that's going to pose a very tough matchup. They're going to be very well prepared defensively. But they're very, I know you mentioned this, dude. They're very tough at home, bro.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a cakewalk.
Also, let's not forget that that Sporting hosts Porto this weekend.
7:15, and that's why Benfica and Maritimo play at 4:30. Right. As do Belenenses play at home on Sunday as well, which is, a skip and a hop from Estádio de Alvalade at 9:30 as well. I think that's 9:30 at night.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
I think that,
and then they complain about crowds.
On a Sunday
night,
maybe October 2nd is a holiday.
Maybe I don't know. It's news to me. If it is, guys, let us know. João Gomes, I know you up.
I know you up.
Let us. Maybe I don't. It's 9:30 at night. Then
that's
again,
tough,
in
man,
Spain they start them at 11. In Spain they start
on a Sunday night.
Saturdays they don't. I don't know if they've done it on Sunday night. I know they've done it on Saturday night.
I think that obviously the biggest thing.
Mention Barcelona, Real Madrid played at midnight. Like I think last season, if I'm not mistaken, at midnight.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah, so
I think that obviously because both Sporting, Benfica, and Porto are involved in the Champions League, obviously they weren't going to be able to play on Saturday. Especially with Sporting and Sporting and Benfica playing tomorrow. Obviously, they weren't going to play on Saturday. They're going to play on Sunday.
So why not play Monday?
I don't know. TV. So the Sporting Porto game is obviously going to be a marquee game.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a marquee game. So they're going to put it on prime time, right? Which is what? Is it 7:30?
2:15.
So it's
7:15.
7:15.
It's 2:15 Eastern time.
That's prime time. So obviously Benfica could only play
and
after
Benfica
that.
still outdraw them, so it's all good.
So we'll just. But as I mentioned, very important for Benfica to get the win at Estádio dos Barreiros, especially because Benfica will stand to gain a point
on someone,
on somebody.
2 points or 3 points on 2 points on each one, or three points on one of them.
Yeah. So that's the story. So obviously we need to get back on track, and I think that the Ferreira game was a good showing of what this team is capable of.
I'm thinking they could have played on Monday. Where they trying to reserve themselves for Friday in Hamilton, so they're not tired. What the hell is going on? I think that I think it's an international break. They try to let everybody go at the same time.
Maybe the national break
mandates
that's
the international break, and they have to because they play. No, they don't play until the 7th.
Yeah, I don't know.
Until the 7th.
To be honest with you, I don't know.
Saturday.
But they could have played on Monday.
Yeah, they could have played Monday, and then still. Unless they're trying to let the guys go from every team at the same. It's just I don't know 9:30 at night. For us, it's perfect. 4:30.
I think that FIFA mandates that there's a certain
72
travel
hours.
period that you allow the player.
72 hours, but the game's on Saturday. You have plenty, even from Monday, you have plenty of time until Saturday.
Yeah.
Unless there's South American game, because Portugal plays Andorra on the 7th and then Switzerland on the 10th. So I don't know.
You know who's coaching in Andorra?
Who's that?
Saviola.
Really?
Yeah. He's coaching a team in Andorra. I just read it today.
Cool.
Anyway, let's see if we got any Twitter questions. We've had a few people watching us.
Grazie.
Probably já foste with 5 questions. And
Já foste agora, é um estrela, é um vedeta. O gajo está busy, man.
Tá busy.
Está busy.
Did the paparazzi come?
He's setting up the tifos.
Olha, João Gomes, não falha, pá.
He's setting up the tifos for Friday.
Olha, João Gomes, não falha, pá.
That's my man. I told you, João Gomes está sempre pronto.
See? João Gomes says, thanks, João Gomes. Monday players have to leave to their national teams.
Yeah, but that's still plenty of time, dude. Crazy.
And he's also mentioning that I think it's because of municipal elections on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They want to delay the games as late as possible. You're absolutely right.
João Gomes.
Forgot about that.
That's go vote, João Gomes. Don't forget. But that's why we need you on the pod. That's right. Great, because there was a big fuss about that.
Yeah, Mr. Mello. Pick your player of the match for tomorrow's CL match. But they haven't even played. How are you going to pick the player of the match, man?
Tarap, man. Tarap. Sempre Tarap.
I think
Zivkovic. How's that?
It's kind of hard to go away from anyone but Fesa at this point, being that we've missed him so dearly. I don't know, man. I'm just looking for the team to carry the performance that they had against Ferreira into this Basel game. I know that usually Europe is usually something different, but I'm hoping that the team can carry that form. João Gomes also says Portuguese Cup draw on Thursday. Any team you would like to play against? Bet the team you want to play the least is Canelas.
Hell yeah.
If you love your Canelas, stay away from the Canelas.
Yeah, that's one of those games you need like 4 ambulances on the side when you play a team like that. Socorro.
4 ambulances and some veterinary animal control units. Here's another one from João Gomes. João Gomes is on it. Hey guys, I have news. It seems Douglas will be called up for the match against Maritimo. Think he'll start so Andre Almeida can rest? João Gomes, I don't know where you're getting your news, but hey, if he is, better.
I mean, look, that's a good shout, but you're gonna start a guy that hasn't played in months, and you're gonna start right away. I don't know if Rui Vitoria would do that. I mean, it's not a bad shout, but I'm not sure.
Here's one from Eliseo the man. Actually, I'll start on this first one.
Yeah, you should start from the bottom.
Well, I'll start from the bottom. Yeah, the first one is from Nelson Lucindo. Is this the point where we start to transition to a 4-3-3? We showed capability and personnel. I mean, it's tough. I think with Fesa, we're more than capable in playing a 4-4-2. But yeah, the 4-3-3 is probably something that's starting to get some reps in training, especially if
Gabigol is ever going to play.
Yeah, well, you need to make room, and Krovinovic. Also, he's a guy that could play in a midfield triangle. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if we have the horses though, man. That's my only preoccupation.
We have to, a 4-3-3 is tough because then what? You're gonna play Zivkovic up front. You're gonna play Servi up front. Those are more guys.
You're gonna play with Jonas on the left, Safirovic in the middle, and then Gabigol on the right. That's gonna be your top 3. Then you're gonna have to go with obviously Feja, Pizzi in a little bit more defensive role, and then the third guy that's the toss-up. Is it going to be Zivkovic? Is it going to be Kravinovic? Is it going to be Filipe Augusto? Where the hell Salvio play? Where does Rafa play? I mean, Rafa could play on the wings as a backup to one of those guys.
Yeah,
it's the midfield because I'm not sure Zivkovic, Kravinovic, and even Pizzi are suited to play in a 4-3-3 with only one guy that's going to do the hustle. that's going to do the dirty work.
Yeah.
You need another guy that, like a Samaris would be perfect. Guy that could go both ways, but he's just not that good right now. But you need someone like that.
By the way, after the Braga game, Samaris got into a confrontation with the Braga player, and the suspension got handed down today. 3 games. Samaris will be
gone.
Will be out. Mr. Mello, has Ruben Dias done enough to pencil him in a starter from here on out?
We talked about that before.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done enough for now. Let's.
I think you go with the kid.
Yeah, you go with him. I mean, let's just rate him. Let's see what the hell's going to happen against the big boys.
Here's one from Milizilda Men. Apparently, he's asked this before. Going to ask you guys again. Do you think Jonas should be dropped? I feel like I'm the only one who thinks he's been struggling. I think we answered this. Dude, the guy is scoring goals. How do you take out a guy that's your best scorer that has a goal per game?
I mean, if you got a guy that scored 9 goals in 9 games and you think he's been terrible and you want to drop him, I don't know who the hell you're going to be content with.
Yeah. He also says Raul should be back in for Seferovic. The word that we got from somebody who knew or had followed Seferovic at one point was that he was a very good starter, but then he would phase out. We're seeing a little bit of the phase out, but I think that I know that forwards will live off of goals. So that's what they feed off, goals, right? But I think that the movement that Seferovic provides and the combinations that he provides, I think that has a lot to do with why he starts. He's not always going to be your the guy that scores every goal on each game, but he's a guy that's giving a lot of stretching defenses that's giving Jonas some room to
took the
step
words
in.
out of my mouth, Alfred. As long as he's doing the dirty work and as long as he's putting in the hustle and he's stretching defenses and you know, he's not the guy that's going to be creating chances, but at least he's getting to them and getting open, right? I have no problem with him playing. I mean, look, he's not in the same form he was at the beginning of the season, but he's still, you know, good enough for the Portuguese league to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. Last one from Justin. Last one, I promise. Who's your starting 11 for Basel?
Same one we saw at the weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't stray away from that. Even if Salviu's healthy, I think that right now Zivkovic has been on a good tear. I think that Servi showed signs that he's back this past game. You know, it's hard to go away from facing Pizzi, Grimaldo, and Andre Almeida in the back, and then Luizão and Ruben Dias. I don't think you go too far away from that, and I think Julio Cesar has to get the start. Here's João Gomes. He says that just so you know, Benfica made an appeal in the Samaris case. You will be able to play against Maritimo if needed. I don't think we need him. When can we suspend Felipe Augusto indefinitely? Anyway, there was one thing that, so against Braga, and I don't know if you noticed, Cristiano, Benfica, towards the last minutes of the game, Benfica is tied, obviously rushing everything. Felipe Augusto gets subbed out. He walks to the halfway line. The fans boo him, and he sarcastically applauds the fans. As a fan, you know, what did you make of that?
I honestly did not care. Call me crazy. I didn't pay two. I did not care. You know what? Like, he keeps doing that. He's only going to get on their bad side. But maybe he's appreciating and trying to tell them to have confidence in them and give them some time. Maybe he did it sarcastically, but either way, it's something. I'm being honest. I don't really like if it becomes a pattern, if it becomes a habit, right? And he's still performing as he is right now, which is not good. Then I'll probably start having a problem with it. But right now, I don't pay attention to little things like that.
I mean, let's
I really don't.
10 minutes to go. Your team is tied. Your team is pushing. Do you walk off the field or do you trot off the field?
Oh, me and my cocky ass attitude. I'm taking 20 minutes to come off the field. 20 minutes. But yeah, I mean, look, you're a professional, and you see that your team is pushing for the lead. You don't walk. At least jog off. If you don't want to sprint off, jog off the field. You know, look like you're putting in an effort. Maybe he's just upset that, he's not getting the minutes on the regular, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what his state of mind is at this point. I don't pay attention to little things like that. Again, if he becomes a pattern, then I'll have a word on it. But right now, it's like, let's see what happens next game.
It could be some frustration on his part also, you know, that I'm sure the guy is trying his hardest to give his contribute to the team, but apparently, you know, it's not working out. So obviously there's got to be some frustration on his end.
Yep, agree 100%.
Anyway, Cristiano, you got anything else, man, before we
I do, but what did you think? I mean, you asked me, what'd you think?
I think that there's frustration. I think that if I'm him, I run as fast as I can. Not on a sprint, but I definitely I
get off the field
on a pacey trot. And I think that the clapping is just a mix. It's just some frustration that he's not able to do more. Things are não estão a sair.
It could be a message like, yo, you keep booing me, you keep whatever. Like, keep going. Yeah. Obviously, it's not helping me, but keep going.
Yeah.
Like, it could be like we don't know.
You could be frustrated and think that, look, I pour up my heart and soul into this game. I run like a maniac, and you're booing me.
When I'm playing out of position and I'm not accustomed to playing, this is totally new for me.
There's a few things.
I mean, you could. That's why I don't pay attention. Now, if it becomes a pattern, then you know,
I think he was definitely wrong in walking off the field. But unhappy. As far as that, I think
by him walking off, he's unhappy.
Yeah, you have to throw in a frustration factor in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get out of here. Steve Santos was supposed to be here, but apparently he's still dealing with some jet lag. He just got back from Portugal over the weekend, dealing with some jet lag. So
on Tuesday, and he still got soft. You soft, Steve. I chose to go with soft, but that's what I was thinking.
All right, everybody. Next week we'll be back. We'll break down the Basel game and the Maritimo game, and obviously we have an international break coming up. So maybe we'll preview the Benfica Hamilton trip.
And over the next week and a half to 2 weeks, I'll be giving away a FIFA 18 for all you guys or gals. All you have to do is retweet my tweet that I obviously sent out on Twitter and follow myself and Benfica Podcast, and you're automatically entered to win a copy of FIFA 18 with Cristiano Oliveira on the cover.
Somebody was asking if that's
Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Somebody was asking if that's a worldwide copy, if you could play it anywhere or just in the States.
I have no. It's a copy. If you can't play it, listen, my man. I'm not that advanced. It's a copy for PlayStation. Now, I wasn't even aware that you can't play it in different continents or.
It's the color system in the TVs, dude.
Are you serious? Or are you messing with me?
No, I'm serious.
So if we take a USA TV to Portugal, the color won't be the same. It won't work.
No.
Olha, you learn something new every day.
I think the TVs here are NTSB or some shit like that, and in Portugal are PAL or something. PAL Seca.
Polaroid, they're still.
I don't even know, but last time I checked, it's a different TV. You had to buy a TV for the color system there.
Wow. Okay.
Not to mention the electricity is different too.
The electricity, I know. Obviously, everyone knows that. But I had no idea about a color scheme. Well, whatever. Listen, even if you don't live in the United States and it doesn't work, still follow us. Why not? I mean, what the hell? What do you got to lose?
That's right. All right. So that's it for us. Don't forget to visit our friends over at planetbenfica.co.uk. At 10CO10 is where you can find Cristiano on Twitter. At Benfica Podcast is where you can find the podcast's Twitter page. At Steve Santos 6 is where you can find Sleepy Queen. And I think that's pretty much it.
Follow our boys also. Our boy, he's a good friend. He's a good dude, man. At PortugueseSoccer.com. He does a tremendous job posting up everything about the Liga. He does a great job updating everyone with with the Liga NOS and the Taça de Portugal Liga.
He does well, and he
does well. He's a good dude.
He tries to be as unbiased as possible, but sometimes his true colors show. Anyway, he's a good guy. Anyway, thanks everybody for checking us out. I'll speak to you again next week, or we'll speak to you again next week. Hopefully, Steve will be awake and be able to share some of the experience that he's had in Portugal. I know he caught at least one game there. So that's it. Thanks, everybody. Please don't forget to subscribe via iTunes. If you're watching this video, hit the like button, subscribe also to the channel.
Do it.
We're also on Facebook, so on and so forth. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good week. Força Benfica. Let's win it tomorrow.
Carrega.
See ya.
Peace.